A historic theater in Oroville nearing the century mark. Action News Now reporter Chloe Curtis shows us what this local treasure still has to offer the community almost 100 years after it opened its doors.
It's difficult to miss these flashing lights traveling through downtown Oroville, and the State Theatre Arts Guild is making sure those lights stay on for years to come.
It is a real jewel for the downtown community.
President of the State Theatre Arts Guild, Jim Mall, lives and breathes the Oroville community and says it's imperative that historical landmarks like the Oroville State Theatre are preserved. Part of preserving the history here at the theater is constantly looking at what new renovations can be made. One of the most recent, from about 3 years ago, was preserving this original mural that was here, and it was actually under 12 layers of paint. From the mural to the chandeliers and everything in between, the theater looks pretty good for 95. But the Guild is looking at ways to bring the theater back to its roots.
The doors were absolutely, at that time, movie theaters were palaces.
As the theater's 100-year anniversary nears, Mall says replacing these front doors with replicas of the original and moving this marquee to the front are a priority.
That once the marquee goes up in any community, it brings a whole new life into downtown, and we've certainly seen that happening here. So it'll be an anchor for downtown, it'll be a jewel for downtown, and really an incentive for other people and other businesses to go ahead and make improvements and commitments to Oroville. He
says when it comes to the theater, the community also shows up. And this time around, he hopes that'll be the case too.
We installed an authentic theater organ, and the community raised $250,000 to do that.
The Guild is a nonprofit after all. The board secured a grant to pay to see if installing replicas of the original theater doors and moving the box office back to the middle of the foyer is possible. The changes would bring the theater back to its original design from 1928. It'll cost about $5,000 for an architect to research the original design and what the work to make it happen could be like.
I think it was built in the early 1900s, and I think all small towns like Oroville, Marysville, I think they should preserve their theater and their big-time old-school hotels.
The community needs to have some place to go and meet and get to be entertained. Oroville's pretty small. We don't have a lot of outlet for that.
Mall says fundraisers have supported past renovations at the theater and will play a big role again. And of course, another way to support the theater is checking out any of the shows going on this season. In Oroville, Chloe Curtis, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Again, the theater is on Meyer Street, and Mall tells Action News Now the pandemic brought on challenges of its own, but he's happy to share that the activity at the theater is exceeding that of pre-pandemic. We have a link to shows and tickets on our website under News Links.